How do I deal with anxiety when I don't know what is causing it? For example, I have periods of time where I wake up in the middle of the night, not from a nightmare, but because I'm having some kind of panic attack and I have no idea why. There has been a trigger, but I can't work with that anxiety when I don't know why I'm in that state. Okay, so panic attacks, anxiety in general, but especially panic attacks. Panic attacks are a little bit different than just pure anxiety. So a panic attack takes anxiety to an extreme, right? We have this fight or flight reaction where there's a bunch of different physical symptoms happening during a panic attack. So panic attacks, anxiety in general, but panic attacks especially, a lot of times people think that panic attacks are induced by something in the outside environment that I'm responding to. And it seems like this person is also seeing it that way. That's why she was asking me, how can I work if I'm waking up in the middle of the night? I have no idea what the trigger is. And so I don't know how to work with this anxiety because I don't know what the trigger is. So she seems to be under the assumption that panic attacks are being caused by a trigger and she can't work with it. And it can be true. Sometimes panic attacks can be caused by a trigger. So for example, if I was, let's say, I was walking down the street one day and there was gun violence that erupted and a bunch of people died on the street and I just cowered down and, I was traumatized by this event. I wasn't harmed, but I was traumatized by this event where I witnessed a bunch of people being shot or killed around me through gun violence. And let's say that, I worked through that trauma, but a year later I'm walking down the street and I hear the pop of what sounded like a gun going off. And I literally just cowered in the middle of the street. Why? Because that trigger induced a panic attack in me and I reacted immediately to that. Okay, so here's an example of where a panic attack can indeed be induced by an external trigger. But what I'm feeling in this question, and it's important for people who deal with panic attacks, is to view panic attacks from a different prism than just being a reaction to an external stimuli or an external trigger. And I know this very intimately because this happened to me in my own life also. So I used to suffer from extremely severe panic attacks, and they would happen the majority of the time that I had panic attacks was in the middle of the night, usually around 3 o'clock in the morning. I would just literally wake up and literally jump out of bed. I thought I was dying. And so I had very, very severe panic attacks that really struck me at night. And one interesting thing that I've learned about panic attacks is that from a spiritual perspective, what a panic attack can be is too much accumulated energy that then gets pressurized in your system. And it's like when you shake a champagne bottle, the cork is going to pop eventually. And that's what a panic attack is. It's when the cork pops, which means that I was having these panic attacks because I had so much repressed trauma that I was trying to hold down and push down that the panic attack, the cork was only able to come out in the middle of the night when my brain was sleeping. Okay. And so this is another interesting way to look at panic attacks, is to understand that there's an excess of energy being released. Okay. Look at a panic attack as excess energy being released at that moment. And then you have to ask yourself, why is my body doing that? Why is my body releasing excess energy? Like, why is it releasing in this dramatic way? And what ended up happening to me and in the thousands of people that I've coached is that as long as that path, as long as I was healing, the more that I healed, the deeper I went into my healing, the panic attacks started to disappear until they disappeared altogether. And what ended up happening was the moment that I accepted the invitation that the panic attacks were inviting me. This is a great way to look at panic attacks. The panic attacks were inviting me to go deeper into healing things that I didn't even have conscious awareness of. And when I accepted the panic attack as a sign to heal, then I started to go in and in layer by layer. I opened myself up. I asked the universe to show me what I needed to heal. Life started to bring to the surface things that needed to be healed, and I no longer repressed them. I no longer pushed them down. I no longer put on a mask. I no longer walled myself out. I became open and vulnerable, and I allowed all of the things that needed to be healed to come to the surface. surface. The deeper I went through that healing, the panic attacks started to go down because the energy was no longer stagnant, needing to pop out. It became fluid. It started to move in my body. It started to circulate because I was working with it. I was transmuting it. I started to say to my body and to the universe, there is nothing I'm unwilling to heal. Show me what I need to heal and I will heal it. I'm not afraid anymore. And I started to go into that healing. The more you go into healing, the more you go in layer by layer by layer, saying yes to your body, saying yes that you're going to listen to it, that you're going to work with the traumas. The more that you do this, the more your body's going to start to transmute and circulate energy, which means that it's no longer going to be blocked inside of you. So there's no need for it to pop out in the form of a panic attack. Okay. And so that's been my experience. I no longer have panic attacks, but for years, for many years, I started to have panic attacks when I was a child, and well into my 30s, well into my 30s until I was able to work to a point where I wouldn't even call it a panic attack. Today, sometimes I'll have a little bit of a trigger here and there, but I don't really even call it panic attacks anymore, because as soon as I notice that there's a tiny little whimper of a panic attack about to start, I just take a nice deep breath and I go into the energy and I allow it to circulate and it just dissipates. It doesn't even turn into a panic attack, okay? But take this invitation to go into that healing, to open your energy up to healing, allow the energy to circulate, be willing to see and to work with all of the emotions that you have to work with that have been repressed inside of you, and the panic attacks are going to start to they're going to start to dissipate. Okay, so I hope this helps. Panic attacks, you can cure panic attacks, so it's not something you have to cope with the rest of your life. I don't really like to use the word cope. Coping is used a lot in the health professions. I don't really like to use it at all because I believe that panic attacks can be healed fully. Hope this helps.